All right, welcome back everyone. Get ready for a deep dive into something we all experience, food. But we're not talking about the latest fad diet here. We're going way deeper into food well-being, FWB for short. You guys have sent in some really interesting research on this, academic stuff, and even consumer surveys. So we're getting like a multi-course meal of perspectives here.
I love that.
I know, right?
Multi-course meal.
Okay, so
What's so fascinating about this is that food well-being goes way beyond what we usually think about when we talk about, healthy eating. It's more about the whole experience of food in our lives.
right, like how does food make you feel? Not just physically, but emotionally, socially, even intellectually.
Yeah.
We're going to help you understand your own food journey in a whole new way today.
Exactly. Florentine Frentz, the author of our main research here, defines FWB as a subjective and objective evaluation of people's physical, emotional, social, intellectual, and spiritual relationship with food.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
It is.
But basically, it's how we think and feel about food.
Right.
How it connects us to others,
Yeah.
and even how we learn and grow through food experience.
Yes. One of the key things that Frentz highlights is that there are actually 6 dimensions of food well-being. You've got the physical, of course, but then it gets really interesting. Emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, and this new dimension called self-determined.
Okay, break it down for us. Physical, that's got to be about eating your veggies, right?
It's partly about making healthy choices, but it's also about understanding your body's unique responses to different foods. Like what makes you feel energized? What leaves you feeling sluggish? FWB is about tuning into those signals and making choices that support your physical well-being. It's personalized nutrition, not just following some generic food pyramid.
So it's like a customized diet plan based on how your body reacts.
Yeah.
Not some one-size-fits-all thing. That's actually really smart.
Exactly. And then there's the emotional dimension.
Okay.
This is all about how food makes us feel, It's being able to cope with food-related stress, like those late-night cravings or pressure to eat at social gatherings, but also about finding joy and satisfaction in food experiences.
This is where I struggle.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm either on a super strict diet, feeling deprived, or I'm totally letting loose and then feeling guilty about it.
Yeah,
Finding that balance is tough.
Yeah, that's where the self-determined dimension comes in. It's about feeling in control of your food choices rather than feeling dictated by external factors, habits, or emotions. It's empowering to feel like you're choosing what you eat, not just on autopilot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Year 2025, takeaway number 1, stop dieting.
Yep.
Start making choices that support your physical and emotional well-being. It's okay to indulge as long as it aligns with your values and goals.
Perfect.
Yes.
Next, we have the social dimension. Think family dinners, holiday traditions, even just grabbing coffee with a friend.
Right.
It's how food brings people together and strengthens our social bonds.
I love that food can be such a powerful connector. Even if you don't speak the same language, you can still share a meal and have that shared experience.
And then there's the intellectual dimension, which is about being curious about food learning, where it comes from, how it's prepared, and the impact of our choices on the environment and society. It's about becoming an informed and conscious consumer.
Yeah, like really thinking about where your food comes from, how it's produced, how it impacts the planet. Year 2025, takeaway number 2. Share meals with loved ones. Try new cuisines and explore different cultures through food. Connect with your community and support local food businesses.
Wonderful. And finally, we have the spiritual dimension. This one's more personal, but it's about finding meaning and purpose in our relationship with food. Maybe it's about gratitude for the abundance we have, aligning your food choices with your values, or even just finding a sense of peace and mindfulness while you eat.
I like that. So food well-being is like this multifaceted gem with all these different dimensions, but it's not a static thing, right? It's not like you reach a certain level and you're done.
Exactly. Frentz uses this analogy of a journey to describe food well-being. We're all on this path with our unique backpack of experiences and qualities, navigating the world of food and constantly learning and adapting along the way.
It's like we're all on this food adventure, figuring it out as we go. Year 2025, takeaway number 3. Food well-being is a continuous journey of learning, adapting, and growing in your relationship with food. Don't strive for perfection. Embrace the process and enjoy the ride.
Love it.
Okay, cool. Now, speaking of journeys, let's talk about grocery shopping. It's a pretty universal experience, but research shows it can have a big impact on food well-being, especially for kids.
Especially for kids, yeah.
Oh yeah. Grocery shopping with kids can be a total roller coaster. Tantrums in the candy aisle, begging for sugary cereals. It's enough to make you want to shop online.
There's actually research on that. Yeah, one study observed families shopping in traditional supermarkets versus organic grocery stores, and they found that the environment itself influenced children's behaviors and learning.
So were the kids in the organic stores like demanding kale chips instead of cookies?
Not quite. but they were more likely to engage in sensory exploration, like touching and smelling the produce and asking questions about where the food came from. The calmer atmosphere and the emphasis on natural foods seemed to encourage a more positive connection with food.
That makes sense. Supermarkets can be so overwhelming with all those bright colors and tempting displays.
Exactly. Speaking of online shopping, that's become huge in recent years. But how does that stack up in terms of food well?
Well, on the one hand, it's definitely convenient.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no more battling crowds or impulse buys.
Totally.
But I do miss browsing the aisles and discovering new things. And what about the social aspect? Sometimes I like chatting with the people at the farmer's market or getting recommendations from the cheesemonger.
You've hit on some key points there. Research suggests that while online grocery shopping offers convenience and stress reduction, it also raises concerns about potential negative impacts on food literacy and social interaction.
Because you're less likely to encounter new foods, read labels, or chat with knowledgeable staff when you're just clicking through a screen. So, year 2025, takeaway number 4. Be mindful of your shopping environment and its impact on your choices. Support your local farmers market or explore different grocery stores to discover new foods and connect with your community.
And I think it's interesting, too, we found a study that identified 51 distinct reasons why people choose online grocery shopping.
Wow, 51. That's a lot. But still, there must be more to it than just convenience.
Oh, there definitely is. Beyond convenience, people are motivated by cost savings, access to specialty items, and avoiding those stressors of in-store shopping.
I could see that. Like, if you have dietary restrictions, you live in a food desert, online shopping can be a lifesaver. But it's interesting how those motivations can vary across cultures, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we found that German consumers in one study were more focused on the increased availability of products online.
Right.
While U.S. consumers were more driven by just wanting to avoid the stress of traditional grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So it's like different strokes for different folks. But understanding why we choose certain shopping methods can help us be more mindful about the impact on our food well-being.
For sure.
Okay, so we've talked about our own experiences, but who else plays a role in this whole food well-being thing? It's not just on us, right?
Oh, it's definitely a collective effort. Food retailers and marketers, policymakers, even us as consumers, we all have a part to play.
Yeah, it takes a village.
It does.
So let's start with the businesses. They have a responsibility to support food well-being, not just promote sales.
For sure.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in pushing products and making profits, but creating a food environment that supports healthy choices and positive relationships with food should be the priority.
Exactly. And we're seeing a growing trend towards what they're calling quality of life marketing, where businesses are focusing on enhancing consumers' well-being. This could be offering healthier options, being transparent about sourcing, or even creating less stressful shopping environments.
I love that. It's like happy and healthy customers are loyal customers, right? It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. But businesses can't do it alone.
Right.
What about policymakers? What role do they play? Policymakers have a huge role in shaping the food landscape. Think about food labeling regulations, nutrition guidelines, even programs to support access to healthy food in underserved communities.
Right. It's about creating a system that supports healthy choices for all.
Exactly.
Your 2025 takeaway number 5. Demand transparency from food companies. Support businesses that align with your values and advocate for policies that promote a healthier and more sustainable food system.
I love that.
Okay, but what about us, the eaters? We're not just passive recipients in this whole food system, right? We have power
Absolutely.
too.
Consumers have tremendous power to drive change. It starts with being conscious of our choices and supporting businesses that align with our values. We can demand transparency, contact companies directly, and even participate in collective action like joining advocacy groups or community initiatives.
So it's about voting with our wallets, raising our voices, and working together to create a food system that prioritizes food well-being for everyone.
You got it. Now, before we move on, I want to touch on one more fascinating aspect of how our choices impact food well-being. This thing called in-store slack.
In-store slack, what's that? Some kind of secret grocery store discount?
It's about our mental budget for unplanned purchases when we go grocery shopping.
Oh, like wiggle room for impulse buys or those treat-yourself moments.
Exactly. Think of it as that wiggle room. And research has shown that this in-store slack varies depending on what type of store we're in.
Really? So are we more likely to splurge at certain stores?
Yeah.
I know I definitely spend more at those fancy gourmet markets.
It's fascinating, isn't it? One study found that consumers had the largest in-store slack in discount stores, followed by supermarkets, then organic stores, and lastly, drugstores.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more. Why are we such suckers for discount stores? Is it the siren call of the clearance aisle?
Well, discount stores often have a wider variety of non-food items, tempting us to stray from our grocery list. They also tend to have more enticing displays and promotions that trigger those impulse buys.
Okay, that makes sense. I've definitely fallen victim to those buy one, get one free deals, even for things I didn't even know I needed.
Yeah, totally. Organic stores, on the other hand, tend to have a more focused selection of products, often at higher prices.
Right.
Which might discourage those impulse purchases.
Yeah, it's like you go in with a mission and you're less likely to get sidetracked.
Exactly.
Makes sense. So it's not just about willpower. The environment itself influences our spending habits.
It really does.
Year 2025 takeaway number 6. Be mindful of your in-store slack. Create a list, set a budget, and avoid those tempting displays that can lead to impulse buys, especially in discount stores.
Exactly.
All right, so we're all about strategies now. We're becoming aware of our in-store slack and the factors that trigger those impulse buys to help us make more mindful choices. Okay, it's clear that food well-being is this complex web of choices, influences, and experiences. I want to shift gears a bit and talk about something that might seem unrelated to food. Our impulsive behavior. Like, what makes us do the things we do even when we know better?
Yeah, interesting.
Like, why do we reach for that cookie even when we're trying to eat healthy?
I think the research that we found shows that we can actually be conditioned to overeat in certain contexts, much like Pavlov's dogs. Learn to salivate at the sound of a bell. We start to associate certain cues with eating even if we're not physically hungry.
My gosh, that explains so much.
Yeah.
Like why I always crave popcorn when I watch a movie, even if I just had dinner.
Yeah.
It's like my brain is on autopilot.
Exactly. And those mindless eating habits can really sneak up on you.
They do.
Especially when those cravings are for foods that are high in calorie, sugar, or fat.
Right, yeah. So how do we break free from these conditioned eating patterns? Do we have to go cold turkey on movie popcorn?
It doesn't have to be that drastic.
Okay, good.
Awareness is the first step. Start paying attention to your eating habits and identify those triggers. Then try to disrupt the association. Maybe you watch TV in a different room or choose a healthier snack option. You could even try chewing gum or sipping on tea while you watch TV to replace that popcorn habit.
Trick your brain into thinking you're getting that same satisfaction. Year 2025 takeaway number 7. Become aware of your mindless eating triggers and find ways to disrupt those conditioned responses. Change your environment. Choose healthier alternatives, or find new activities to replace those habits. Okay, cool. So it's not just about willpower. It's about understanding how our brains work and using that knowledge to our advantage. But are there other things that make us more prone to overeating?
Yeah.
Besides those environmental cues? Like, is it just me, or are some people just wired to be more impulsive?
Research has shown that people who score high on measures of impulsivity,
Oh, no.
you know, that buy now impulse without thinking, tend to be more vulnerable to overeating even when they're aware of the triggers.
That's so me. I'm such an impulse shopper, and I definitely give in to food cravings way too easily. So are you saying my impulsive personality is making me overeat?
Well, it's not
That's a
about
bummer.
blaming yourself.
Okay, good.
It's about recognizing those tendencies and developing strategies to manage them. People who are more impulsive have a harder time inhibiting those conditioned eating responses, even when they know those cues can trigger overeating. Their brains are sending those eat now signals, and their impulse control isn't strong enough to resist.
Right, like the Cookie Monster takes over.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we boost our impulse control superpower?
There are a lot of strategies that can help, from therapy and support groups to mindfulness techniques and even habit tracking apps. It's about empowering ourselves to make choices that align with our values and goals, even when it's tough.
Year 2025 takeaway number 8. Don't blame yourself for impulsive tendencies. Seek support, explore mindfulness techniques, and practice self-compassion to manage impulsivity and make choices that align with your goals.
I love that.
Okay, so we've talked about how our environment and personality can influence our eating habits. What about the choices we make consciously? Do those have any impact on food
Absolutely.
well-being?
Our conscious decisions play a huge role in shaping our relationship with food.
Okay, good. Because I was starting to feel like I was at the mercy
you're
of
not.
my impulses. I love cooking. It's so therapeutic. Plus, you have complete control over what goes into your food.
Exactly. When you cook at home, you're more aware of the ingredients, the portion sizes, and the cooking methods. You can make choices that align with your health and well-being goals. It can even be a fun and creative activity, especially when you involve family or friends.
It's like turning a chore into a social event.
It is.
And it's so much more satisfying than takeout.
Totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of planning, meal planning can be a game changer for food well-being. It helps you make healthier choices, avoid those impulse buys, and even reduce food waste.
Yeah. But meal planning can feel overwhelming.
I know.
Who has time to plan out a whole week's worth
It
of meals?
doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. Maybe just plan dinners for a few days, or create a few go-to meals that you can rotate throughout the week. The key is to find a system that works for you and makes meal planning feel less like a chore. Think of it as a tool to support your well-being.
Yeah, like a little bit of planning can go a long way.
Oh.
Year 2025 takeaway number 9. Make cooking at home a priority and embrace the joy of creating delicious and nourishing meals. Start small with meal planning and find a system that fits your lifestyle and supports your well-being
Perfect.
goals.
I like that.
Now let's talk about navigating the grocery store.
Okay.
Do you have any strategies for avoiding those impulse buys and sticking to your list? Because I'm telling you, my biggest weakness is the
The chip aisle gets me too.
It's like a black hole of
It
deliciousness.
is. Here's a simple but effective tip. Shop the perimeter of the store first.
The perimeter, why? Is that where they hide the
Well,
good
that's
stuff?
usually where you'll find the fresh produce, the meat, and the dairy products. These are generally the most nutrient-dense foods, and they should form the foundation of a healthy diet. By filling your cart with those perimeter staples first, you're less likely to be tempted by those processed and packaged foods that lurk in the center aisles.
So it's a strategic battle plan. Outsmart those tempting displays and load up on the good stuff first. I like it. But what about those times when you have to venture into the center aisles? How do you avoid getting sucked into the vortex of impulse buy?
Reading labels is crucial.
Yeah.
It helps you make informed choices about ingredients, added sugars, portion sizes, and overall nutritional content.
Labels can be so confusing. There are so many numbers and claims, it's hard to know what to focus
Be
on.
overwhelming. But here's a simple trick. Start with the ingredient list. Aim for products with fewer ingredients and ingredients that you can recognize and pronounce.
That's actually a great tip. If it sounds like a chemistry experiment, it's probably not something I want to put in my body.
Exactly. Then check the added sugar content. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day for women and 36 grams per day for men. You'd be surprised how much added sugar is hiding in seemingly healthy food.
Like those granola bars that claim to be packed with whole grains, but are basically candy bars in disguise.
You got it. And finally, pay attention to portion sizes. Food labels list nutrition information for a specific serving size, so adjust those numbers based on how much you're actually eating. It's easy to consume multiple servings without realizing it.
Yeah, that's a sneaky one. Year 2025 takeaway number 10. Don't be fooled by flashy packaging and marketing claims. Read labels, carefully prioritize whole foods with fewer ingredients, and be mindful of added sugar and portion sizes.
Perfect.
Okay, we're reading labels, we're shopping the perimeter, we're basically grocery store ninjas now. But what about going beyond the label? Should we be thinking about where our food comes from
Absolutely.
too?
The more we know about how our food is produced, the more empowered we are to make choices that align with our values.
So we're talking about supporting local farmers, choosing organic or sustainably sourced products, maybe even visiting a farm to see where our food comes from.
Exactly. It's about becoming conscious consumers and using our purchasing power to support a more ethical and sustainable food system. Even small steps in that direction contribute to a greater sense of food well-being, both for ourselves and for the planet.
I love that. It's like every time we make a mindful food choice, we're casting a vote for a better world. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of practical tips, but I want to touch on the emotional side of eating.
Okay.
We talked about the emotional dimension earlier, but how do we bring more awareness to that in our daily lives?
Mindful eating is key.
Right.
It's about paying attention to your food with all of your senses, savoring each bite, and noticing how your body feels as you eat.
It's the opposite of scarfing down a sandwich while scrolling through social media, right?
It's about being present in the moment, fully experiencing the taste, texture, and aroma of your food, and noticing how your body responds to it.
It's like turning off autopilot and really tuning into the experience of eating.
Yes.
I can see how that could help us make more satisfying and nourishing food choices and appreciate the food that we have.
And it can help you cultivate a sense of gratitude, satisfaction, and even joy in eating.
But let's be real, mindful eating can also feel a bit whoa, 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 right?
Yeah.
Like, do I really need to meditate over my
It doesn't have
breakfast
to be that
cereal?
intense. Mindful eating can be as simple as putting your fork down between bites, taking a few deep breaths before starting a meal, or chewing your food thoroughly. Just bring more awareness to the act of eating rather than treating it as a mindless activity.
I love that. It's about treating our meals as an opportunity to connect with ourselves and our food in a more meaningful way.
I love it.
Okay, so year 2025 takeaway number 11. Practice mindful eating by engaging all of your senses, slowing down and savoring each bite. Cultivate gratitude for the food you have and appreciate the experience of eating. Embrace the pleasure of food and find a balance between indulgence and moderation.
Perfectly so.
Okay, great. Now we've talked a lot about making healthy choices, but food is also about pleasure celebration and indulgence. Oh, absolutely. I'm a firm believer that food should be joyful. Depriving yourself just leads to cravings and binges.
Right.
So how do we balance nourishing our bodies with enjoying the
It's
foods we
about
love?
finding what works for you and your individual needs and goals. Some people might thrive on a very structured approach to eating, while others might prefer more flexibility and spontaneity.
Right. It's about listening to your body and honoring your cravings, but also being mindful of portion sizes and overall dietary balance.
Right.
It's like enjoying a slice of cake at a birthday party is totally fine, but maybe don't eat the whole cake.
It's okay to indulge occasionally as long as those indulgences are intentional and don't derail your overall well-being goals.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
It is.
Okay. So that's a perfect place to pause for.
And in this part, we're going to explore some even more intriguing aspects of food well-being.
Okay.
Like the power of social connection,
Yeah.
the evolving landscape of food tech, and how we can advocate for a more sustainable and equitable food system.
I'm excited to dig into these topics. Let's start with social connection. We touched on this briefly, but I think it deserves more attention.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, food has always been a way to bring people together, right? From family dinners to holiday feasts, it's like food is the glue that
You're
binds
absolutely
us.
right. Social connection is a fundamental human need, and it plays a vital role in our overall well-being, including our relationship with food.
So how can we foster those connections through food in a way that supports our food well-being? Are we talking about more potlucks and dinner parties?
Sharing meals with loved ones is one of the most powerful ways to connect through food. Whether it's a family dinner, a potluck with friends, or a romantic date night,
Oh, yeah.
these shared experiences create opportunities for bonding, laughter, and meaningful conversations.
I love that. It's not just about the food itself, but about the shared experience, the memories we create, and the bonds we strengthen.
And it doesn't have to be fancy or elaborate. Even a simple picnic in the park can be a deeply nourishing experience.
Absolutely.
What matters most is that we're present and engaged with the people we're sharing the meal with. Put away the phones, turn off the TV, and truly connect with the people around you.
Yeah, be in the moment. Year 2025. Takeaway number 12. Make time for shared meals with loved ones. Create a space for connection and conversation, free from distractions. Embrace the simple joy of eating together and savor the memories
Those
you create.
shared mealtime rituals are so important, especially for families.
I agree.
They create a sense of stability, tradition, and belonging, and they provide a space for open communication and connection.
And it's not just about eating with others, right? What about cooking together? I've always found that to be such a fun and bonding experience.
Cooking together can be a wonderful way to foster social connection.
Yeah.
It's a fun and collaborative activity.
It is.
And it's a great way to learn from each other, share traditions, and create new memories. Think about it. You're working together towards a common goal, you're sharing skills and knowledge, and you're creating something delicious to enjoy together.
It's like turning meal prep into a team sport, and it's a great way to involve kids in the kitchen,
Exactly.
too.
Cooking with kids can be a messy but joyful experience. It's a chance to teach them about different ingredients, to get them excited about healthy foods, and to create positive food memories that will last a lifetime.
I love that. Year 2025. Takeaway number 13. Turn meal prep into a social activity. Invite friends over for a cooking night. Get your family involved in the kitchen, or even sign up for a cooking class together.
And it's not just about the act of cooking itself, it's about the conversations that happen while you're chopping veggies, the laughter that erupts when you accidentally spill something, the sense of accomplishment you feel when you present your creation to the table.
It's those little moments that make cooking together so special.
They do.
Okay, so we've talked about sharing meals, cooking together, but what about supporting local businesses? Isn't that another way to connect with our communities through food?
Absolutely. When we support local farmers markets, restaurants, and food producers, we're not just getting delicious food, we're investing in our communities and supporting the livelihoods of our neighbors. It's about creating a sense of place and belonging through food.
I love browsing farmers markets and chatting with the people who grow my food. It's such a different experience than just grabbing prepackaged produce from the supermarket.
It can be a way to connect with the people who prepare your food too. Think about those cozy neighborhood cafes where the owner knows your name and remembers your order.
Yeah.
Family-run restaurants where you can taste the love and care in every dish.
Year 2025. Takeaway number 14. Explore your local food scene. Support farmers markets, try new restaurants, and get to know the people who grow and prepare your food.
Connections add a whole other layer of meaning and enjoyment to the food we eat. It's not just fuel for our bodies, it's a way to nourish our souls and connect with our communities.
We've talked about the social aspect of food well-being. Now let's shift gears and dive into something that's constantly evolving. The world of food tech. I mean, it's incredible how technology is changing the way we eat
It is.
From personalized nutrition apps to meal delivery services to even lab-grown meat.
It's a fascinating and rapidly changing landscape. And it's important to approach these advancements with a critical eye, considering both the potential benefits and the potential drawbacks in terms of our food well-being.
Because technology isn't inherently good or bad. It's all about how we use it.
Exactly.
So what are some of the ways that food tech is impacting our food well-being?
Well, on the positive side, technology can make it easier to make healthier choices. Think about personalized nutrition apps that track your calorie intake, provide recipe recommendations, or even analyze your DNA to create a customized meal plan.
That's so cool. It's like having a personal nutritionist in your pocket.
Help you find healthy restaurants near you, scan food labels to check for allergens or unwanted ingredients, or even connect you with local farmers markets. Technology can also make healthy eating more convenient.
Oh yeah. Meal delivery services have been a lifesaver for me on those busy nights when I don't have time to cook.
Businesses are getting increasingly sophisticated, offering a wider variety of healthy options, catering to specific dietary needs, and even providing pre-portioned ingredients to simplify cooking.
The excuses away.
Right. Technology can also help reduce food waste. Yeah.
I've seen apps that connect consumers with restaurants or grocery stores that are selling surplus food at discounted prices. That's a brilliant way to save money and reduce the environmental impact of food waste.
Exactly. And there are smart refrigerators that track expiration dates and send you reminders when food is about to go bad.
Wow.
Helping you minimize waste and save money.
Technology is amazing.
It really is. But it's important to remember that technology isn't a silver bullet.
Right. There are always potential downsides.
Well, one concern reliance on technology could lead to a disconnect from our own intuition and body wisdom.
Well, that's interesting.
If we're constantly relying on apps to tell us what to eat, we might lose touch with our own hunger and fullness cues, our natural cravings, and our individual preferences.
Year 2025, takeaway number 15. Embrace the power of technology, but don't become overly reliant on it. Use it as a tool to support your food well-being, but also listen to your body, trust your intuition, and stay connected to your own food wisdom.
That balance between utilizing technology and honoring our own inner wisdom.
Potential downsides of food tech.
Another concern is potential for data privacy issues. When we use apps that track our eating habits or analyze our DNA, we're sharing a lot of personal information.
That's true. It's important to be mindful of what data we're sharing and to choose apps and services that prioritize privacy and security.
For technology to exacerbate existing inequalities.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. For example, if personalized nutrition services are only accessible to those who can afford them, it could widen the gap between those who have access to healthy food and those who don't.
That's a great point. We need to ensure that technology is used to create a more equitable and accessible food system, not one that reinforces existing disparities.
Absolutely.
Okay, so food tech is a powerful tool with both positive and negative potential.
It is.
It's up to us to use it wisely and intentionally to create a food future that supports our individual and collective well-being.
Well said.
Well said.
Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of creating a positive food future: advocacy. We touched on this briefly, but I think it's important to emphasize the power we have as individuals and as a collective to advocate for a more sustainable and equitable food system.
Absolutely. We're not just passive consumers. We have a voice and a vote.
Yes, we have power.
We do. We can use our choices, our voices, and our actions to shape the food landscape.
So where do we start? How do we become effective food advocates? It starts with education. The more we understand about our food system, the more empowered we are to advocate for change. Read books, listen to podcasts, attend workshops, and stay informed about the issues that matter to you.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
It is.
For 2025.
Yeah.
Takeaway number 16. Become an informed food advocate. Educate yourself about the issues, connect with like-minded individuals and organizations, and use your voice to demand change.
Once you have that knowledge, you can start to take action.
Like what are some tangible things we can do to make a difference?
Support organizations that are working to create a more sustainable and just food system. Donate your time, money, or skills to a cause you believe in.
Community garden, and it's been such a rewarding experience. It's amazing to see how people are coming together to grow their own food, connect with nature, and build community.
That's wonderful. And there are so many other ways involved. You can contact your elected officials and let them know that food policy is important to you. You can support businesses that are committed to ethical and sustainable practices. You can even start conversations with your friends and family about these issues.
Right, it's about raising awareness and inspiring others to take action.
It is.
And it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming thing. Every little step we take, every choice we make can make a difference.
Exactly.
So what does this look like in practice? Can you give me some concrete examples of how people are advocating for a better food future?
Absolutely. There are so many inspiring examples happening all around us. There are communities coming together to create food cooperatives where members pool their resources to buy food in bulk from local farmers, ensuring fair prices for both producers and consumers.
That's such a great idea. It's about cutting out the middleman and creating a more direct and equitable relationship between farmers and eaters.
Implementing garden programs, teaching kids how to grow their own food, connecting them with nature, and instilling healthy eating habits from a young age.
To be mindful and responsible stewards of our food system. What other examples come to mind?
Agriculture initiatives, transforming vacant lots into thriving community gardens, increasing access to fresh produce, and fostering a sense of connection and belonging in urban environments.
That's brilliant. It's about reclaiming our urban spaces and creating a more sustainable and resilient food system.
It is.
What about on a more individual level? What do we do in our own homes and communities to advocate for change?
Start by reducing your own food.
Okay.
Compost your scraps, plan your meals carefully, and get creative with leftovers.
Year 20 takeaway number 17. Reduce food waste in your own home by composting, meal planning, and getting creative with leftovers. Sourcing.
You can also support businesses that are committed to sustainability and ethical sourcing. Look for labels like fair trade, organic, and locally sourced.
If you're at a restaurant or grocery store and you're curious about where their food comes from or how it's produced, just ask.
Exactly. Consumers have the power to demand transparency and hold businesses accountable for their practices.
And the more we demand transparency, the more businesses will be incentivized to make positive changes. It's a win-win for everyone.
It really is. And remember, advocacy isn't just about making big, sweeping changes. It's also about those small, everyday choices that add up over time.
Right. It's about making conscious decisions in every aspect of our food journey.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've explored the power of social connection, the evolving world of food tech, and the importance of advocacy.
We have.
Now let's shift gears and dive into something that might seem a bit tangential to food well-being, but actually plays a fascinating role. Our impulsive behavior, are we talking about those late-night snack attacks? Or those add-to-cart frenzies online?
Exactly. Impulsive behavior can have a big impact on our food choices.
Oh, yeah.
And understanding how it works can help us make more mindful decisions.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this impulsive side of ourselves.
Well, our brains are wired for both immediate gratification and long-term planning. And sometimes those two systems can be at odds with each other.
It's like that angel and devil on your shoulder battling it out over whether to grab a cookie or stick to your healthy eating plan.
Exactly. And impulsivity is essentially the tendency to favor immediate gratification over delayed rewards.
But think about your long-term health goals. Resist the temptation.
That's a great way to put it. And it's important to recognize that impulsivity is a spectrum.
Okay.
Some people are naturally more impulsive than others.
I definitely fall on the more impulsive side of the spectrum. I'm all about instant gratification.
And that's okay. It's not about labeling ourselves as good or bad. It's about understanding our tendencies and developing strategies to manage them.
So how do we manage our impulsive urges when it comes to food? Do we need to become super disciplined and deny ourselves all the good stuff?
Not at all. It's not about deprivation. It's about finding balance and making conscious choices. One effective strategy is to create a plan.
Okay.
If you tend to overeat at parties, for example,
right?
You could set an intention beforehand to choose healthy options or to limit your portion sizes.
That's a great idea. It's like setting yourself up for success by having a game plan in place.
Exactly. Another strategy is to create a pause between the impulse and the action.
So if I'm feeling that urge to grab a bag of chips, I should take a moment to breathe and really check in with myself.
Exactly. Ask yourself, am I truly hungry, or is this just an emotional craving? What will I feel like after I eat this? Is there a healthier option that would satisfy me just as much?
It's like hitting the pause button on autopilot and giving ourselves a chance to make a more conscious choice.
Enough to diffuse its power.
That's interesting. So instead of trying to suppress the craving, I can just say to myself, okay, I'm noticing that I really want that cookie right now.
That's interesting.
Exactly. By bringing awareness to the impulse, we're less likely to be swept away by it.
I love that. It's like taking the wind out of the craving sails.
Another helpful strategy is to focus on the long-term benefits of making a healthy choice.
I should remind myself that choosing a salad will help me feel energized and vibrant tomorrow.
Exactly. Visualize yourself feeling healthy, strong, and confident.
I like that.
Remind yourself of your goals and why they are important to you.
It's like using the power of our minds to overcome those urges.
And remember, progress over perfection.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself up if you slow up occasionally.
Yes.
Right, because we're all human, and we're all going to have those moments of weakness. What matters is that we get back on track and keep moving forward.
Exactly. And celebrate your successes along the way. Every time you make a mindful choice, every time you resist an impulsive urge, give yourself a pat on the back.
Year 2025 takeaway number 18. Recognize your impulsive tendencies and develop strategies to manage them. Create a plan, set boundaries, and practice mindful awareness to make more intentional choices.
Those small victories add up over time and build momentum for lasting change.
This is so empowering. It's like we're not just victims of our impulses. We have the power to choose differently.
And practicing self-compassion along the way.
Well said. Okay, so we've explored the social side of food, the world of food tech, the power of advocacy, and the intricacies of impulsive behavior. That's a lot to digest.
It is indeed. But hopefully it's given you some food for thought.
I think so.
And some practical food well-being.
Now, in this final part, we're getting personal. We're going deep into the heart of our relationship with food, exploring the emotional connections, the power of mindset, and how to cultivate a sense of trust in our own bodies.
It's fascinating how food is so much more than just fuel.
Yeah.
It's intertwined with our memories, our cultural identities, and even our sense of self.
Right. It's like food is this language that speaks to our souls as much as it nourishes our bodies.
I love that.
But sometimes that language can get a bit muddled, right? We might find ourselves using food to cope with stress, to numb out uncomfortable emotions, or even to punish ourselves.
That's a really important point. Food can be a source of comfort and pleasure, but it can also be a way of avoiding or suppressing difficult feelings.
So how do we untangle those emotional knots and create a more harmonious relationship with food?
One of the most powerful tools we have is mindfulness.
Right.
We talked about mindful eating, but it's really about bringing that same awareness to all aspects of our relationship with food.
Okay, remind me what mindfulness is all about. Is it like meditation, but...
It's similar in that it's about paying attention to the present moment without judgment. But when it comes to food, mindfulness can involve noticing your thoughts and feelings about food, observing your eating habits, and tuning into your body's signals of hunger and fullness.
So if I'm feeling stressed and reach for a bag of chips, mindfulness could help me pause, notice that urge, and maybe choose a healthier coping mechanism instead.
Exactly. It's about creating space between the impulse and the action so you can make a more choice.
Year 2025. Takeaway number 20.
Mindfulness can also help you savor the pleasure of food more fully. When you're truly present, bite, you're engaging all of your senses, appreciating the flavors, textures, and aromas, and experiencing a deeper level of satisfaction.
It's like turning off autopilot and really tuning into the experience of eating.
Exactly. And that can help you break free from those mindless eating patterns, cultivate a more joyful and nourishing relationship with food.
I love that. It's about bringing more intention and presence to every aspect of our food journey.
I love that.
But what about those deeper emotional patterns that might be driving our food choices? Like if we're using food to cope with stress or to numb out uncomfortable emotions, how do we address those underlying issues?
That's where therapy or counseling can be incredibly helpful. Explore those emotional patterns, develop healthier coping mechanisms, and create a more positive and sustainable relationship with food.
It's like having a guide to help you navigate the complex terrain of your emotional landscape.
Exactly. And there are also many self-help resources available, such as workbooks and online courses that can provide guidance and support.
Year 2025. Takeaway number 21. Don't be afraid to seek professional support if you're struggling with emotional eating or disordered eating patterns. Therapy or counseling can provide valuable guidance and support on your food well-being journey.
Remember, there's no shame in asking for help. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness.
Said.
Right.
Now let's shift gears and talk about the power of mindset.
Okay.
I've heard so much about how our thoughts and beliefs can shape our reality, but how does that apply to our relationship with food?
Our mindset is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It can influence our food choices, our eating habits, and even our relationship with our self-esteem, increase stress levels, and even lead to disordered eating patterns.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So how we reprogram our brains to think more positively about ourselves and our relationship with food. Do we need to become affirmation chanting self-love gurus?
Start by becoming aware of your negative thoughts. Notice when you're engaging in self-criticism or judgment, then challenge those thoughts.
So if I catch myself thinking I'm such a failure because I ate that whole pizza, I could challenge that thought by saying something like, okay, I made a choice that wasn't aligned with my goals. I'm not a failure. I'm human. I can learn from this experience and make a different choice next time.
Exactly. It's about replacing those self-defeating thoughts with more supportive and empowering.
Year 2025, takeaway number 22. Challenge negative self-talk and cultivate a more compassionate inner dialogue. Replace self-criticism with self-acceptance and focus on progress, not perfection.
And it's not just about changing our thoughts, it's also about changing our actions.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Our actions can actually reinforce our beliefs.
Right.
If you're constantly engaging in restrictive dieting, for example, it can reinforce the belief that you're not good enough as you are, that you need to control your body and your food intake.
That makes sense. So if I want to cultivate a more positive body image and a healthier relationship with food, I need to start treating myself with kindness and respect, both in terms of my thoughts and my actions. It's like creating a lifestyle that supports your overall well-being, both physically and emotionally.
Exactly. And when you start treating yourself with kindness and respect, it becomes easier to make that are aligned with your values and goals.
Okay, so we've talked about the power of mindfulness, the importance of addressing emotional eating patterns, and the transformative potential of a positive mindset.
Right.
Now, for our final exploration, let's talk about trusting our bodies.
Okay.
Like really tuning into our own intuition and inner wisdom when it comes to food.
This is such a crucial aspect of food well-being, but it can also be one of the most challenging.
I know, it's like we've been with so many external messages about what we should and shouldn't eat, what our body should look like, and how we should feel about food, that it's hard to know what our own inner voice is even saying anymore.
Exactly. We've been conditioned to distrust our bodies, to ignore our natural cues, and to rely on external restrictions.
So how do we reclaim that trust and learn to listen to our bodies again? Feels like such a foreign language.
It takes time, patience, and a willingness to let go of those external rules and reconnect inner wisdom. Start by paying attention to your body's signals.
Year 2025. Takeaway number 23. Cultivate a sense of trust in your body's wisdom. Pay attention to your hunger and fullness cues. Honor your cravings and make choices that feel good, both physically and emotionally.
Notice when you're truly hungry and when you're full. Observe how different foods make you feel.
So if I eat a salad energized and focused, that's a sign that my body is happy with that choice. But if I eat a bag of chips and feel sluggish and bloated, that's a sign that maybe chips aren't the best fuel for my body.
Exactly. It's about tuning into those subtle cues and learning to discern what feels good for you.
It's like becoming a detective of our own bodies. What other clues can we look for?
Pay attention to your cravings. Cravings can be a sign that your body is lacking certain nutrients. For example, a craving for red meat could indicate an iron deficiency.
So instead of just dismissing cravings as bad or unhealthy, I should try to understand what my body might be trying to tell.
Exactly. And remember, trusting your body doesn't mean eating whatever you want whenever you want.
Right.
It's about finding that balance, honoring your cravings, and making choices that support your overall well-being.
Right. It's about listening to your body's wisdom, but also using your rational mind to make informed decisions.
And it's about letting go of perfectionism and embracing the journey. There will be times when you make choices that don't feel good, or when you overindulge or slip up on your goals. That's okay. It's all part of the process.
Year 2025.
Sure.
Takeaway number 24. Embrace the journey and let go of perfectionism. There will be ups and downs, but each experience is an opportunity to learn, grow, and deepen your connection with yourself and your food.
The most important thing is to approach yourself with kindness and compassion, to learn from your experiences and to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. We've learned that food well-being is not about rigid rules or deprivation, but about creating a harmonious and joyful relationship with food that nourishes our bodies, minds, and souls.
It's about listening to our bodies, honoring our cravings, making conscious choices, and celebrating the pleasure of food.
It's about connecting with others through food, advocating for a more sustainable and equitable food system, and trusting in our own inner wisdom.
It's a journey of self-discovery, growth, and transformation.
It's a journey that we can all embark on, one delicious bite at a time.